Hello lovies, welcome back to my channel, Do What You Love. My name is Missy. Today I thought I would share one of my watercolors with you guys. I thought it'd be fun to do a watercolor with me. I have been sketching like crazy. I'm really trying to build my skills, so to speak, and I really wanted to do something fun and whimsical, and to me, little critters and mushrooms and stars and things like that really speak whimsical. So I kind of combined all of that and came up with a whimsical bunny. And of course my bunny doesn't really look like a bunny. It's supposed to be whimsical, so I kind of made it look a little more different than your traditional cute little bunny, and I think it turned out great. And that is one of the things that watercoloring is really teaching me, is that don't compare your work to other artists' work. Your work is your work and it's just as beautiful. And if you don't compare yourself, you'll really enjoy the process of sketching and bringing your sketchings to life with color, whatever your medium may be, and you'll be proud of it. So don't compare yourself, just get it down, bring it to life, and be proud. I'm gonna pop in and out to give you guys some quick tips and tricks that I've learned on the way to my sketching and watering color. I also sped up the video so this video is not hours long because this took me some time. I had to take some breaks and things like that in between to take care of my family. But I hope that doesn't bother you guys too much. Also, I will adjust the angles as I go, kind of in and out, because when I work on the smaller, finer, detailed things, I kind of zoom in a little closer so you guys can kind of see more detail of what I'm doing. So I hope all of that works. I set this to some very relaxing music, so get yourself a nice cup of tea, relax, and watercolor with me. Let's get this bunny painted. Off camera here, I took some washi tape and bordered off my edges so that when I'm finished with this, I can peel up the washi tape and I will have a nice quote-unquote frame around my picture. A quick tip is that when you're going to work in large scale spaces like I am right now, I'm trying to make it look like night on the outside, is to take a paintbrush, dip it in plain water, and wet your watercolor paper first with just water. It takes the watercolor so much nicer, it spreads more easily, and you don't have to use as much watercolor either. So that's a quick tip. Just kind of wet your surface with plain water before you add your watercolor, and you're going to see a big difference. Another quick tip is to always erase your pencil marks very lightly before you add your watercolor, because once you add your watercolor on top of your pencil marks, it's permanent, and if you don't want that to show underneath your watercolor, just gently erase them so that you can kind of still see the image to trace out with your watercolor, but that pencil mark won't show through. Another quick tip, which I learned the hard way, is to make sure that you erase what you need to erase before you add wet watercolor, because your eraser little bits will stick into your watercolor. I did that a couple times, so that comes from experience. As I begin to work on my foliage here, I just want to give another tip too, is that you always add your lightest colors first. Always go in with a light coat or your lightest color and then allow it to dry, and then come back in with darker colors to add accents and shadows and things of that nature, and it'll really bring foliage or really anything you're working on to life. So don't be disappointed as you add the watercolor and it looks very kind of dull or very light, that's a great place to begin. The lighter the color, you're just filling in the space, and after it dries, then you go in and add detail, and it'll really bring your watercoloring to life. Don't be afraid of color as well. Don't be afraid to think outside of the box and color things that wouldn't normally be that color. As I'm doing my mushrooms here, I'm using more of a bronzy color, but when I go in with detail, I'll use more reds and browns and things of that nature. But don't be intimidated to have one mushroom be brown and the other mushroom be bright red. It really brings contrast and a big color is the only thing I can think of, bright, vivid colors to your picture. So don't be afraid of color. Don't be afraid to do things that are kind of outside the box. You'll see that that looks more realistic than doing ideal colors that you think something should be. So don't be afraid of your watercolors. Just go for it. Make sure you have a variety of different watercolor paint brushes. Some paintbrushes you need to be wider and thicker to cover more base area, and then you need other brushes that are very fine and hard tipped so that you can bring fine details into your watercoloring, because that's what brings your watercolor to life, is when you begin to add all of those little teeny tiny details, and you need a much smaller hard tip brush to do that. Using different paintbrushes in your watercolor paintings really makes the difference. And I'm telling you, you can get a nice set like I'm using here, very cheap. I think I got a pack of 15 different size watercolored brushes from Hobby Lobby for $6.99. So you can do this on a budget, and it really does make a difference. My last little tip for you guys is to use a micron pen, which mine is 0.05, to really bring in all those fine details and outline everything. My personal opinion is as you begin to outline everything, it really, really brings your drawing to life. You can do this with watercolor, of course. I just find that my micron pen can get into places that's a little bit harder to do with my watercolor brushes. So this is just my personal opinion, but as you're gonna see, I really feel that my little micron pen here really brings in all of the finer details and really finishes off my painting here. But that is my tips, and those are my tools that I use to watercolor. And I'm sure from a year from now when I'm watercoloring, I'll have all new tips and all new things that I learn as I go. There's nothing better than just doing it, and then as you're doing it, you're learning your own way, your own skills, and your own little tips and techniques, and they are so much fun and so rewarding. I hope you're inspired to watercolor. This is my favorite part, ripping off the washi. Look at that beautiful little frame. I think my Whimsical Bunny turned out pretty darn good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful week, and I'll be talking to you guys in another video very soon. Love you all. Always do what you love. Bye-bye.